All right, there you have it. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, on the efforts of Nigeria and what the lawmakers hope that will happen in a couple of days. Well, let's get some insight on what this means for Nigerians living in Ukraine, the situation, how much of escalation we could be expecting from this, especially from the interventions of across the world. Look, when these kind of things happen, we are not living in isolation. We're part of the global community, and we need to be concerned as much as some Nigerians will be in Ukraine, and we also are concerned about what is happening in that country and for the citizens of that country. Let's first and foremost get some insight from Professor or Associate Professor of History and International Relations in the University of Lagos, Dr. Dapo Thomas joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much, Dr. Thomas, for joining us tonight. Give us a sense of where to go at this kind of situation when there are fears of being caught in the crossfire. What do you think is needed? The standard procedure that governments need to take to ensure that citizens of Nigeria, for example, are not injured or killed or caught in the crossfire, as the case may be?
Well, I think the international standard is that the safety of the passengers, because all commercial flights have been suspended, the safety of the passengers or the safety of any plane at all has to be guaranteed by both countries involved in the conflict. I mean, Ukraine and Russia, Russia especially. As at now, I doubt sincerely if that guarantee can be given by Russia because they are not ready to even allow any kind of flight, understand, as at now, because now there is area bombardment in Ukraine. And I know that Ukraine itself cannot even guarantee the safety of any passenger plane. Why? Because they do not have any kind of communication with the Russian leadership on how to secure or protect passenger flights. So I don't know. I don't think it is advisable for anybody now to venture into the airspace of both countries in the interest of, in order to save lives or anything. This should have been done long ago, particularly when it was, the body language of Putin was sufficient for any sensitive government to know that, look, this is going to be an all-out war, or there is going to be escalation of conflict. And so they should have preempted this kind of scenario before, and government should have taken a preemptive action, possibly maybe 5 days ago, 4 days ago.
Thomas, if I may quickly come in, aside the fear and the responsibility of Nigerian government and the efforts that are being made in getting some of the Nigerians who are staying in Ukraine back, because you cannot estimate whether, how long this invasion will take and the possible escalation of this. What, in your view, should be done by countries like the UK, the US, Germany, and France, and other bigger countries of the world in stemming the tide of this invasion?
Well, there is nothing that could be done now apart from them engaging Russia in the conflict, because a war has been declared. And once the war has been declared, it's always very difficult. I'm not saying that there is an end to diplomacy, but you could see from the body language of Putin that he was not even ready for any kind of diplomatic engagement. So now it is not time for any form of persuasion or any form of rapprochement. This is the time to engage in the objective there is to defend Ukraine's sovereignty, and not to engage Russia in any conflict or any war. But what I feel, as at now, they are still working on sanctions. They are still hoping that sanctions will work sanctions will force Putin to de-escalate the tension, to de-escalate the situation in Russia, and in Ukraine. But it is when sanctions fail that military action, decisive military action, can now be coordinated or can now be conceptualized. As at now, I would not allow further escalation because now, apart from what Putin did in the morning, what Russia did in the morning, I think there is a kind of reduction in the area bombardment and in the attacks. But the ones carried out in the morning were sufficient enough to suggest that Putin actually means business. I think it was a warning. It was a warning salvo that he fired, and that he was ready to go the whole hog. And in any case, he has even threatened that any nation that interferes in this particular scenario, any nation that attempts to stop Russia from achieving its objective of dealing with Ukraine, that country is going to find itself in a very serious situation. So for now, let them continue.
All right, Dr. Thomas, it seems to be some interference in the audio line, but I mean, if you erase that, and I can just get your final thought on this very one. If history has taught us any lesson, we'll know that when it involves this country, the history of the USSR, what happened in the early 90s, and some of the past wars that we have seen in human history, the prayers are that this kind of situation needs to be stemmed, or I mean, will forbid any kind of escalation. But going forward, what would you suggest on the part of Nigerian government to ensure that we are somewhat insulated from this kind of situation, God forbid any escalation?
Well, except you are thinking of the use of nuclear capabilities, if we are going to limit this conflict to the use of conventional weaponry, I don't think that Nigeria in any way can be affected. Going by geography, I don't think it will be affected. But well, it has wider range, so it's very difficult. So except the nuclear capabilities are deployed, into these conflicts, I don't think Nigeria is any way under any kind of threat from Ukraine. I mean, from whatever is happening now in the Eastern European country. So I don't think in Eastern Europe, I don't think for now, psychologically, geographically, we seem to be insulated from any kind of effect now. But the moment the countries involved deploy nuclear capabilities, then no nation is safe in the world. No nation is safe in the world.
God forbid that happens, but we really do wish some of our brothers and sisters who are in Ukraine are able to be evacuated and returned to us safely. And we do hope that the situation and the escalation there in Ukraine will be stemmed so that every life is protected. Thank you so much, Dr. Dapo Thomas, for joining us tonight.